Hi, welcome to Enter the Bunker, where we launch you into thriving. Each week we talk about a different virtue that can be used as a building brick to build your own personal bunkers. We share personal stories, as well as tips and tricks to help you thrive instead of survive. So sit down, relax, and enter the bunker.
And welcome to Enter the Bunker. This week's building brick is faith. We're going to be going over part 2 on how having faith in yourself can benefit you. My name's Kelly.
And I'm Jonathan.
And we're going to go over the 3 ways. So let's list each one, and then we'll go into detail with each one.
Let's do this.
Okay, so the first one is decrease worry and anxiety. Worry and anxiety can consume you if you let it. It sure can. Have you ever held yourself back from doing something or accomplishing a goal simply out of worry or being anxious about it? Having faith in your knowledge and abilities can help you by decreasing the amount of worry you have inside of you. Worry doesn't help, but having the confidence because of faith you hold in yourself can do you wonders. So yeah, I guess it's like overcoming the worry and anxiety though. Like I don't know. Sometimes you can just get so in your head that I don't know. How do you get out of your head about, you know what I mean? Like what's that first step to get out of your head? I don't know.
Change the story.
Change the story.
Well, because what's happening when you get in your head like that is you're creating a story of doom.
Right.
Right? You're basically deciding that whatever is going to happen is going to be all these terrible things that are going to completely coming down on you, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that's where anxiety comes from, is that you are telling a story to yourself that is causing you to get anxious. And it's probably a story that is not one of faith, obviously. It's one of fear.
Mm-hmm.
And so by probably the best way to decrease your worry and anxiety is essentially to either change the story into something that's going to be positive.
Yeah.
Or just don't tell one at all.
Just
right?
what? Don't tell one at all.
Yeah, just don't. Just like, it's one thing to create something because you think something's going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
and as soon as you start telling yourself that story that something's going to happen that's going to be bad, then you're going to start get worried and get anxiety about it. Then just stop it. Just say like, look, I don't know that's going to happen. I don't know that this is actually the way it's going to go,
Right.
and just stop it right there. So
Yeah.
you kill the monster when it's small,
Mm-hmm.
right? So decreasing your worry and anxiety really is about changing the story or stopping the story from spinning out of control.
Yeah. I kind of learned something in a course I'm taking too, because I guess that's a feeling when you're feeling that. And if you don't change that story, and if you're thinking all these fearful thoughts or whatever, if you don't change the story, that's going to lead to a bad action.
That's right.
So if you don't change the story, yeah. Number 2, increase courage. Once you begin to have more faith in yourself, you will find that you will become more willing to try new things. You'll be less afraid of failure. As a result, you won't hold yourself back as much because of the courage that faith gives you. Knowing your abilities and what you are capable of accomplishing and having faith you will put your best effort forward will work wonders. I mean, like, how do you increase
Practice.
practice? Practice makes perfect. I actually hate that saying.
Yeah, but practice makes courage here. So,
Practice makes courage. Yeah, that's a good one.
because just like I said, like the more once you begin to have more faith in yourself, where does faith come from? It comes from knowledge and experience,
Mhm.
right? So the more that you practice and the more experience you give yourself, the more faith you'll have in your ability to be able to go forward, and then you gain courage, right?
Right.
So it's really, you got to think about just being able to take small steps, right? Just thinking of the little things where where you didn't have courage before. Think about doing those little things that have always kind of kept you back.
Yeah.
And then once you start to overcome those little things, then you can start to you'll move on to the bigger things, because now that courage is building up in you. And
Right.
then suddenly taking on those bigger things doesn't seem like such a big thing.
Yeah, I feel like once you kind of recognize, like, if you, I don't know, if you're practicing faith for, you don't have a lot of it, so you're like, okay, I'm going to practice it. So this is me probably the next couple weeks for the rest of my life. Anyways, I just feel like I need to start recognizing like the small things and having like, I don't know, like being happy about the small things. Cause like, I feel like I have faith in small things, but it's the big things that are harder to have faith in. But if I'm happy and I recognize the small things, it'll give me the courage to have faith in the big things too. Is what I'm saying, I guess.
So sometimes if you attack all the little things,
Mm-hmm.
the big things take care of themselves.
Right.
So you suddenly find that those things that were difficult, like you do a lot of little things, and it just ends up making monumental changes to your entire life,
Mm-hmm.
right? In ways that you never could have imagined.
Right.
And that's what I think this is about, is you're able to build your faith on, like your faith builds up with that courage.
Yeah.
And it's surprising how just those little changes can make a big difference. Like
Yeah.
so there's this really good example that I learned a while ago from a book. I think it's called Atomic Habits.
Yeah.
He talks about how if you were to take a flight from across the United States from Los Angeles,
Mhm.
wanting to go to Washington, D.C., if that flight from Los Angeles changed its course by just 2 degrees,
Yep.
you would end up in New York.
Really?
Yeah. So just imagine if you were able to make just those little changes to your life
Yeah.
in such a way that's just a 2-degree difference, suddenly you're in a whole other destination, right? So same sort of thing where you can make those little attempts at, at being able to build on that courage,
Yeah.
then it makes all the world difference.
You make it sound easy, and I feel like it is easy when you actually think of it little, but that's not how a lot of people think of it because they think of the big picture and the big things. So just take a step back and
Yeah.
I
So-
like that.
So another way to look at it is like, yes, you have that, you've got that big horizon that you have to go across, and it's just like there's all kinds of things. But where does it start? It
Mhm.
starts with the first step,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
just look at the first steps that you have to take and
Yeah.
take those.
Yeah,
Right.
I like that. All right. And number 3 is personal growth. By allowing yourself to expand your horizons because you have less worry and more courage to try new things, you will grow as a person. Learning new things, trying new things will allow you to become more well rounded and the best version of yourself. In short, having faith in yourself will help you thrive
True enough.
and survive.
So personal growth is, about expanding your horizons.
Yes.
So always grow out of your
Comfort zone.
comfort zone, get into your die zone, do the things that you never would have done before.
Mhm.
And you learn more about yourself that way. That's
Yeah.
also how you build courage, and
Yeah.
and it's also just how you gain more personal growth. So all of that together, that's where faith comes from.
That's great. So if you follow these 3 things, you may have more faith in yourself. I think you will.
100%.
All right. So join us next week. We'll be going over grace. That'll be the building brick of the week. And we shall see you there.
See you then.
Thank you for listening to Enter the Bunker. Make sure to follow us on Instagram where you can share your story and also look at behind the scenes of how we make our podcast. You can watch the video version of this podcast on YouTube by simply searching Enter the Bunker. Tune in next time as we launch into thriving.